your victory is guaranteed. Now, because some of us live a lifestyle of trusting God, we are not surprised when we get the victory. We are never caught off guard when God blesses us, promotes us, sends us better, does for us the good measure, the press.
Mark 4:24. Then he, the he being Jesus, then Jesus said to them, I could say and still be correct, take heed what you hear. For with the same measure you use, it will be measured to you. And to you who hear, more will be given. For whoever has, to him more will be given. But whoever does not have, even what he has, watch this, will be taken away from him. But I don't want to lose that. Don't matter. You didn't hear right. Woo, quiet. Notice again in verse 24 how important it is to hear. Not just how important it is to hear, but notice how important it is to use what you hear. Woo! We just got separated. We just got separated between those who hear and use what they hear versus those who hear and ignore what they hear. Now I'm going to fall in the category of those that hear and use what they hear. Amen. You didn't have to be quiet. You could have said, I'm going to fall in that category too. Because I use what I hear. But notice, if you use what you hear, you're going to increase. Now the antithesis of using what you hear, again, has the implication of you ignoring what you hear. And Jesus is talking in the text. But who's really hearing him? Who's going to use what they're hearing? Who's going to hear and ignore? We don't want to ignore God. We don't want to ignore God. And in saying that, I say that based upon what I've learned in the Bible, but I also can step back and talk from experience, having been a person who has ignored God. And I'm not alone. I know some folk couldn't say that, but I'm not alone. I'm not the only one that when you look at your past, you have been guilty of ignoring God. And again, if it's one person we certainly don't want to ignore, it's God. It's God when he's speaking directly, but it's also God when he chooses to speak indirectly. We just don't want to ignore him. Key points to consider. Number one, because when it comes to God, he never talks just to be talking. No, he don't. See, he ain't like some of us. Some of us talk just to be talking. We talk just to hear ourselves talk. Some of us talk just to impress folk. There's a number of reasons why we say the things that we say. But when it comes to God, he is never found guilty of just talking just to be talking. I can even take it a step further and say that when it comes to God, he never says something to a person just to make them happy, with that only being the reason he spoke. No, God will never say something just to make you happy, but on the other hand, he will say something that makes you happy. But it's not just the reason that he said it just so you'll smile. What he said to you that got you happy was truth. Come on, because some folks say things to you that make you happy, but in the end you find out it wasn't true. They again said it just to make you're happy. Oh, God, many of us, we smiled even though folk were lying to us. Yeah, we did. Some of us, we had folk tell us how good we looked, and they walked off and they were laughing because they knew we looked a mess. But their compliment had us smiling even though it wasn't the truth. But yet when it come to God, he never just talks just to be talking. God also always does what's best for us. So whenever God is talking to us, he's saying to us things that's going to cause us to be better. That's the thing you have to realize about God. Even if God corrects us, that's what's best. Woo! Got one amen. I think two. I said whenever God corrects us, he does so because that's what's best for us. And I gotta say that because some of us we tend to hear God when he's saying what we want to hear, but then when he's correcting us, some of us have the tendency to try to ignore him because we don't like what he's saying, even though again what he's saying is right. Now, we're not God, but watch this. Have you ever tried to correct a person and they ignored you? Why? Even though you knew what you were saying to the person, you were saying because you had their best interest at heart, yet the person ignored you. You ever talk to a person, they wouldn't even look at you based upon what you were saying because you was bringing forth correction. Even though the correction, if they would have took heed to it, would have made them a better person, would have made them a better husband, would have made them a better worker, would have made them a better wife, would have made them a better minister, would have made them a better deacon. Yet they would not hear because it was correction. But when God corrects us, that's what we need. That's what you need. That's what you need. Amen. Oh, I should get more amen. That's what you need. So what does it mean to ignore? Number one, to ignore means it's failure to consider. Failure to consider. God is speaking, but I am purposefully failing to consider what he's saying. Now, this is often sad because people will be in trouble that they can't get themselves out of. God is bringing forth a word to get them out of the trouble that they got themselves into, but they'll set up in church and fail to consider what God is saying. Yeah, somebody here this morning, the trouble that you in cannot be blamed on a trial. It cannot be said about this, that this is just a fiery trial. No, the trouble that you're in is something that you got yourself in. But it is amazing how easy it is to get into something and how hard it is to get out of. Pastor, it was easy to get in it, but now I'm trying to get out and I'm finding it difficult to get out. Yet I know a man that no matter how difficult it may be to get out, he's proven to get folks out of. I was waiting for somebody to get happy and just represent your God because he got you out of some mess that you got yourself into. Even though at the beginning you were trying to tell folk it was a trial, no, that was your doing. Oh, can I say it like the old folk? That was you being too big for your... That's all you, sister girl, being hard-headed. That's you, brother man. Don't want to listen to nobody. I got to say this. Sometimes we fail to hear God because in the midst of our trouble, we're too busy listening to demons or people who are possessed by demons. Why are you not listening to God? Because those demons have your undivided attention.